I want to bring something forth that just should click to you. As you see, the difference between centralization and decentralization is very, very clear. Centralization is these banks, this cell phone, Amazon. It just means that it's running on something that if that one person decides or that group decides it doesn't want to do it anymore and cuts it off, you don't have it anymore. And if it's what you really needed to sustain yourself, this is a vulnerability. So you need to be sovereign. And sovereignty, for me, in my opinion, starts spiritually, to unconnect yourself from external weirdos, right? God dogs and jealous beings and all this weird stuff, right? And get in tune with yourself. The next level is that you should work towards that when you flip the light switch, that the power that's coming on is being generated by something that you're in control of, like the sun. And then to the point where the food that you're eating, that's being produced through something that you can produce. Now, I'm not saying that you have to go and start a farm. What I'm saying is that you need to be able to provide even the farmers around you with something that you're generating, your own resource. Okay. So right now, what I'm also seeing, because that is a process, people cannot do that overnight. When I look at Bitcoin, what I see is like the Pirate Bay. You see how they still trying to shut the Pirate Bay down? But they can't, because it's on every single person's computer. So as long as they choose to use the computer, the Pirate Bay will always be there. That is a big blow to centralization. But the education, I'm not here to talk to you about Bitcoin today. I'm here to talk to you about when you really are making moves, how you have to think things through. You don't think from the bottom up. You think from where you are down to the last morsel that is going to need sustainability. So let me show you how that works. So we know that generally the necessities in life are being produced right now by the people, and they have the most laborious job. That's why we were talking about the earth. They got to carry the load all the time. So when you think about what the biggest necessity is, what we got, air, right? Okay, we good. Air looks like, if air don't, none of us going to get anything. We're all done if air go away. So next, water. Okay, well, there's something around that, right? And then so we can secure water. We can clean our water, right? And then the next thing is food. And that's where, as with elements, the more denser they get, you start needing a little bit more in your agreement to be able to remain as a sovereign with that. So when we look at food, it's a necessity. We need it. So then when we look at our farmers, we see that our farmers would not take Bitcoin, right? Because what the farmer needs, he cannot buy with Bitcoin. So that's where that big disconnect is. This is what we call the citadel, that we have to create citadels. We have to create places where there's a decentralized form of transaction that we can exchange what our resources that are essential are with others, right? Now, remember, this is something that's going to happen over time, but I'm saying where to start. Educating farmers, and not educating like, oh, I'm going to let you know about Bitcoin. Let me show you about hashtag. No. What we're saying is, first of all, the lead farmer, because there's always a lead farmer. It's on a big farm with a bunch of people working in farming, there's the lead farmer. So the lead farmer, you first go to that lead farmer and you say, what is it that you need, what is it that you're paying the most money for? Okay, what is it that you're paying the most money for? If you ask a lead farmer, it's not the seeds. That makes up about 10% of the cost, because generally the product produces the seeds, even if it's animals. It's not the seeds. It's not the regeneration process. It's the work, the helpers, the people who are picking the crops and planting them and all of that. That's where 60 to 70% of the cost comes from. So right away, then if you can get the people that are working to then take the decentralized currency, the Bitcoin or whatever, now we've eliminated 70% of what this farmer needs money for. So when we make him aware or her aware of the power of being decentralized, we can say, look, I'll give you 70% Bitcoin. I'm just showing you how it really would have to work. I'll give you 70% Bitcoin or the decentralized currency, and I'll give you 30% fiat or whatever the centralized, whatever it is, so you can still stay alive and do what you pay your rent and all the stuff that's still connected to that as you yourself are getting ready to unplug from the whole thing, because we got to unplug now. It's contaminated. They're not, that's not the ones to trust. They never have been. But what is the solution? So now then you got to keep going though. Now this farmer, why is he going to take the farmer, the guy that's down there getting their hands in the dirt, the woman that's down there picking the fruit? Why are they going to take this stuff? What do they need? And this is where we got to be in life right now. We got to be down there, if you may, saying, what do you need? What are you spending money on? When he gives you money, what are you spending money on? And then be able to supply that to them. So they also, so now you have that one part is fortified. It's completely decentralized. We have food in a decentralized currency. And this is now it, because until that happens, it's all speculation, really, as much as it could really be. And this is like, it's only a doorway. Like if we don't want to go through craziness, because they cut the money off. You can act as nice as you want to right now, but they cut the money off and people don't understand what's really happening. It's not just that maybe you won't get a UBI check. It's that the streets, that other side, nighttime, the moon cannot survive without it. And so if we're not ready to transition them off of it, what we would have is instability. You would have a rift between, there would be no more middle class. It would be the rich, the billionaires, if you may, and the poor under UBI. And they would be separated even geologically. Oh, you can't get in that country. You got 9 shots to take. You see what I mean? And all this would sound like a conspiracy like 10 years ago when we were talking about this. But now it's actually happening. So now we're explaining, look, I'm not irrational. I know all this stuff that we've been talking about tonight is on a whole nother level, and you may have a hard time believing these things, but the simple stuff, I spend time with that too. And I'm telling you that we need to think about what our necessities are. Also, what is our necessity? Power. So how do we generate power? Solar panels. Can you get solar panels with Bitcoin? Yes. Right now, still through who though? Amazon. Oh man. Oh, well, we back with him again. So, and then notice how you're getting played for y'all divine masculine, which is inside of every female too. These guys took off with the Amazon. My brother J-Ro bought this up. I was like, J-Ro, boy, you Jason Rollinson, man, like out of all of that, absorb the knowledge of the message and synthesize and come out with their own spin. Him. He says, yo, I was mentioning how, they flying up in the sky. Here's what the symbolism is with that. And then, how this is tampering with the divine feminine because they're saying they're conquered the sky. This is what they're saying, that they going to make a push now for the queen. Right. And then he said, and then how you even know is that they're flying off in the world. How they got their riches is through 2 companies. Primarily. Virgin. You can't make it more clear than that. I mean, Branson's clearly working with this Venusian Venus thing forever with the flight attendants, right? So that's the divine feminine force and power. And then if you just was thinking somebody making this up, then you go over to Elon, or not Elon yet, but Bezos. And who does he got? Amazon. Oh, who are the Amazons? Man, come on, man. Come on, Wonder Woman. Who are the Amazons, right? So then he's like, man, Sevan, you full of it, man. You're just making this stuff up. Who was the other guy? Who was the other billionaire that's a little late to the takeoff? Who is that? That's Elon. Oh, okay, see, we got Elon. Who's he got as a goddess? He ain't talking about no goddess. Yeah, he is. He got that Dogecoin. He's saying Dogecoin to the moon, Dogecoin to Mars. What are they talking about? Now you know. Now you know in the symbolism. Now you see the priestcrafts. See, it's symbolic. It is. It's not just them. It's not just Elon. That's just the face that they're choosing as the mediator behind the energy from the priestcraft. So when they shoot up their rocket, that's symbolic. This is like you're already firing out the firework. Hold on, man. I ain't in the bag yet. At this point, they think it's in the bag. And you know what? That's the perfect time for the disappointment. This is where the greatest lessons are learned in life. When you think you're going to steal everything and then somehow succeed that way, and it just doesn't work out, just as a lesson, right? We need to be giving. So, because it's always better to give than receive. If you have the funkendating component and it can, that means you're the initiator of the turning of the wheel. That's why they got so many people in their clutches, because people are expecting, give me a little money, give me a little stimulus, and they won't go figure it out themselves. How do I keep my necessities first? Let me become a sovereign on the spiritual plane first, because then as above, so below. Then from there, I'm going to start regulating with my magic and untie myself from these weavers' webs, right? Get the knots out so they're back in their place. And then I'm going to glide into a frequency and a harmonic that I don't even whatever they're doing, it doesn't even affect my fields and the fields of my children and the fields of those that I love and I care for. In meantime, while they're doing that, let it be a lesson to them. They are suffering. This stuff that they done, you knew it all. There was other times you knew what they were doing. It's like deep stuff that's happened that people didn't really understand what was going on. Like what happened with Epstein and how it shows that the cabal has been working on blackmailing every leader in the world by getting them to do something that is so horrid, thinking that they're going to be initiated in closer into this priestcraft when really they get videotapes and stuff of them doing things and being a certain way that if we're ever released, they would be finished anyway. So grabbing onto their own lives, they are told to do certain things and they just do it because they don't want those tapes released with that woman that they had run off with, or that goat they slept with when they got drugged, or whatever else they got for them, just to keep them under that kind of pressure. And this is psychological, right? And you can be tearing them up. I'm going to tell your wife about this, what you was doing. We had cameras of you on, you see, so this is the game being played. Meanwhile, you're here. You, the most glorious, magnificent, beautiful being. Are you going to get your whole thing canceled from what you can become because you never figured this out and what's going on, and you stay dependent on this, thinking that this is all that there really is, and getting fooled and not taking your power and your knowledge, not realizing still you need to be mature to understand these beings and what's going on and what happened in the past with our ancestors and the elders, how again they make mistakes, and then how, that's got to be cleaned up, and then how we're here to do that because it's them through us. That's why this stuff right here, man, when I be looking at this stuff, I was like, man, it's like sometimes they be even calling my name. I'm like, man, this how does this work? Am I even alive? Is everybody else even alive? I mean, am I just in a simulator that is trying to make me think that somehow I'm responsible for this too? And he say, well, yeah, Sevan, you're the creator. I was like, oh yeah. See, so it's convenient to accept the creator thing when it's gone well. You just want to take, oh, that's my boy right there. That, look at her, but when they acting and they clowning, oh no, I don't know. I don't know them. So it's like that whole kind of behavior. This is what we're growing beyond.